Okay, this is a tutorial for the mod.io guide on how to make a single-handed melee weapon first, and then the two-handed one will be later. So you first want to grab the SK-Car98 bayonet from Unreal Engine, just export it, and you want to bring it in here and delete the roots by clicking X. And then when you get to this guy, should just be facing down. Then you just want to import your mesh, line them up, rotate them if you need to. And the next step after that is when you rotate your mesh, you could go ahead and hide the bayonet because he's just a reference. Control A and apply all transforms. And then you want to press tab. Make sure you rename them to be simple. Select faces, go to data, add a vertex group and name it the exact same as the mesh. And then you want to assign it to those faces. Go back to object mode, shift A. You want to add an armature, scale it up just to match the handle if you want. And then you want to click on the little bone icon here, name it the same thing so it can match the vertex group and the mesh. And then once that's done, you want to also do Control A, all transforms. And now you want to actually go back to the bone, click on armature, and then go to viewport display and click in front so you can see the bone. Click on the mesh, shift click the bone, and then you want to right click or press P, and then partner with empty groups. And now just to test if it's connected and partnered right, you press G, move it around, okay, Control Z to set it back, and click on this, click on pose mode, click on your bone, press G, and if it moves, you did it right. If it doesn't move the whole mesh, you may want to clear the parent and make sure you spell everything right, or just try redoing the whole process. Go back to object mode, and I got this guy off of Fab, so his textures are not named right. And maybe the same for Sketchfab, or pretty much any 3D model. Make sure you're in your object mode. And since it's all one material, you can go to each image here. So there's a metallic roughness, base color, normal, and a specular. So we could do all that in PAVLOV. And they're all UV checked, so it's already UV unwrapped, it's already good. So let's just rename this to Sword V2B. I'm going to do this to every single one of them. And once you rename them, you're like, how do I export them? Well, we're going to go in order and click on your base color node right here. Click on the 3 lines right here. If you don't see this, you most likely it should be there, but if for some reason your window is not showing up over here, you could just go to window and you could click new window and you could select this guy to be your, where is it? Oops. Image editor, and you'll get your image editor. And then you could just minimize this guy or put him wherever you want. Or just simply, wherever on the screen by these rounded corners, you could just make a new window, and you could select it from there. Anyways, you click on these 3 lines, go to image, save as, and it already named it for me. I'm saving it in documents, where all my other assets are in here. I'm going to do JPEG, full quality, save as image, go to the next one, metallic and roughness, save as, and we're going to do JPEG, 100%, save as image, normal map right here, image, save as. We're going to do JPEG, 100%, save as. We're going to do our specular image, save as. JPEG, 100%, save as an image. And once you are done with that, once you get all your textures ready, now you're ready to actually export this guy. So you could right click on Armature, select Hierarchy, go to File, Export, FBX, and I'm going to show you the operator preset that I use to export all my melee weapons. So we're going to do Visible Objects, Armature, Shift Select Mesh. Scale needs to be 0.01 because Pavlov multiplies some items by 100, so we don't want it to be oversized. And we're going to do X forward and Z up. And we are going to leave that the same. We're going to go to geometry and select face smoothing. I'm going to go to armature, deselect add leaf bones. And we don't have an animation, so we'll deselect that. And this is how you should set it. And you could name this to an operator preset. So you could go here and select it every time on export to make things easier. We're just going to name this mesh sword V2 because that's my second sword. I'm going to export it. And this is single hand, by the way, not double hand, not two-hand grip. So let's open up Unreal Engine. And we are going to find our assets for our melee weapons. Okay, here they are. So I'm going to go to weapon models. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm just going to call this sword V2. And inside of that, I'm going to create another folder named mats. I'm going to create another folder named textures. I'm going to create another folder named model. So let's go ahead and import the model in here. We're going to press import, or you could just open your folder and drag and drop. So I'm going to go to documents. I'm going to search sword V2. And once we find it right here, we could select it and hit open. And make sure all of this is the same. If for some reason you have a skeleton in here, just click on this and hit clear. Make sure it's cleared. All of this is the same. Do not create a material. Actually, could. But most likely will not create a material. And this is the only notice you should have. This should be the only one. Nothing else. If you see anything else, redo this tutorial. Click X. And now we should have we have for some reason two textures here. We have base and our normal, and we have material in here. And we have our skeleton, and we have our physics asset, and we have our skeletal mesh. Now, before we do anything else, we need to get sockets for skeletal mesh. So if we go to scroll up, go to custom map tools, content, path examples, go to items, and we go to attachments, and we go to bayonet. We can go to the skeleton of the SK Car98 bayonet, and we can, let's take this, computer's slow. You want to copy these sockets right here, so you want to shift select both of them. and you want to copy the selected assets, sockets, close out of that, go back to your folder, we're going to go to Sword V2, then go to Model, then go to its skeleton here, maximize our screen here, and then we're just going to right click on the bone, and we're going to paste sockets. Now we have stab start, stab in. So stab start should be located at the base of your blade, or blunt weapon, or whatever the heck your melee weapon is. Stab in at the end of your weapon. Simple as that. You want to save it, you want to make sure you're centered on. You press F to zoom in to one. F. Okay, we're all good. And now we have a socket set up, we have the mesh itself set up, and it looks like the texture slightly worked. So we're going to go to the material. It looks like it found two of the textures I had within. It did not import the specular and the metallic roughness. We could go ahead and do that right now though. So we're actually going to move this material to the mats. Let it save for a second. Okay, then you want to move your textures to your textures folder. You want to go to your textures folder, and you want to import the rest of your textures. So we're going to search up Sword V2, and we're going to select our metallic roughness. Open it. Okay, we have that. We're going to import our specular that we had. Specular. Open. And now what you want to do is you want to go to these textures and you want to make sure they are from texture world group. And instead texture group, they are not a world texture, they are a weapon texture. So we're going to save that, close that out. And this is a metallic roughness, so we're just going to set this one to weapon as well. And this one is a normal, and it thinks it's a world normal map, but it's a weapon normal map. And then this one is a specular, so this is going to be weapon specular. There we go. Now, once you have this, you can open your content drawer, and you can find your folder. Weapon model, Sword V2, textures. Now we could import our, could get these guys, throw them in. So our specular could go up here, so we're going to move this guy out of the way. We're going to slide this guy right in. We could actually, to make this a lot more convenient, plug this guy in. We could actually collapse this node to save space. It's not really necessary, but you can if you want. And then the way our metallic roughness will work is you plug your green channel into your roughness and your blue channel into your metallic. And this guy could also be collapsed too. And then this guy goes into normal, and this guy goes into base color. So now the final texture looks something like this. Looks pretty good. So we're going to save it. Okay, so once your texture saves, you can save that, save the material, you can close out of that. And now, if you come back to the skeleton, we can actually go to the physics asset here. And we want to click on this little cogwheel up here. You want to show primitives, and you want to show all bones. So you want to click on the vertex group right here, actual physics body. You want to right click, and you want to add a box. You want to delete your capsule. Click on this guy, you don't need to mess with the mass. The mass is fine. You want to enable simulate generates hit events. You want to come down here. You want to change the capsule to box, regenerate white bodies, and there you go. Set up your physics. This will enable the whole sword to have its physics and the whole thing to be selectable. So now we could minimize this. And now what we can do is we can go to, you can create another folder if you want. And this is where you're going to have all your blueprints. So before even this, we're going to go back to custom map tools, have examples, attachments, and the custom bayonet base, you want to right click on it and create a child blueprint class. You don't want to just duplicate this. You want to create a child. Very important. And then you want to come back to your weapons. So we're going to go to the weapons folder. So this is all, I had one child, and then once you have a child, you could just duplicate the child. So you child once, duplicate forever on. So I'm just going to take one of these, and I'm just going to duplicate it. And I'm going to name this sword v2 underscore OF, because that's the tag I like to use. All of them have OF. So I'm going to go into it. May take a second to load depending on your computer. I'm going to open full blueprint editor. You could add your own logic if you want to the actual blueprint to itself, like damage override or compatibility with zombies or whatever whatnot you want to do with it. And we don't even need a bloody mat, so we're going to clear that. That'll be for another tutorial. So we're going to go to viewport, we're going to zoom in, and this is what our mesh looks like as of currently, so we're going to click on the bayonet mesh itself. We're going to change this to the new one we have. So this is our new mesh, and as we can see, it kind of fits all nice and snugly. It's up to size, up to scale, as we want it to be. If you want, you could find the hand pose you want to use, and you could export it. So like this one, for some reason, is using this when it should not. So you want to check your hand pose, and you want to make sure it's using the right hand pose. So we're going to choose bayonet trench gun right here. This is to make sure in game it's playing the right animation. So we're going to compile and save. And now the most important thing is we're going to move this. This is not the hitbox. This is the area you cannot grab the weapon in. I got that confused for a long time. So we're going to squeeze this together. Probably increase it a bit more. And I think that should be good. Compile and save. And we're going to get rid of this grid because it's just in the way. And now you want to go to your, when click on self up here, or just class defaults. And you want to scroll down and make sure everything is right. You want to make sure your physics are right, everything should be right, visible. And this is completely up to you. If you want, you could add your own hand poses, and you could select them and put them in here. Although, you want to make sure that your avatar hand offset has these specific settings, and the rotation offset has these specific settings. You can find these and other examples in the custom bayonet base. And same thing with right here. You can edit the slots for the inventory, so we're going to make sure this is only holsters. And we're going to delete these custom inventory offsets. Now, sometimes the holsters may take a few tweakments. You could add offsets. That's not really needed. You can add your own sound effects in here. So if you come right over here, you could go to bayonet and see this just has the defaults in here, but you could change those. And other than that, pretty much done. You just add this guy to your mod initializer, so you could go back to your UGC, scroll down, find your mod initializer wherever it is. My folder is a mess. I'm actually gonna go get a charger. Once you get to your mod initializer, you want to go to add the list component. You want to scroll down, and you want to add it as an item. So you want to add element, scroll down. You want to name the item. So I'm going to name mine in dash sword V2. This is the second version of any sword I made, so I'm going to name it like that. And now I'm going to click on this little drop down, and I'm going to find the class that I had. So it was sword V2 underscore OF. That's the bayonet we just made. And the loop mesh is kind of important too. So what you want to do is just search up sword V2 or your skeletal mesh asset. Shove it in there. Go to buy menu details. You want to go to not purchasable, and you could put this most likely in gear, upgrade, wherever you want it to go. I'm going to put in gear. Leave the team ID like that so anyone could buy it. I'm just going to put cost low so anyone could buy it. May take a few tests to have this thing show up. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. I just recently figured out I should be putting the loop mesh in. That's another thing. If we go to the skeletal mesh asset and we scroll down, we go to screen size. 0.087 is if you set the size of this right here. So right here, So what this is basically doing, if you go to your skeletal mesh asset, is this means you would be able to see your weapon from this far away in game. That's the screen size for your one LOD level of detail. This is how far you're going to be able to see it before it clips out of existence. So we're going to save our skeletal mesh asset, close it out. Going to go back to our mod initializer, compile and save, and voila, we have a one-handed melee weapon. Hope you found this tutorial helpful, and soon enough I will make the second video on how to make two-handed melee weapons. So catch you then.